Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse study of the entire Bible. Currently, we are in the book of Job, chapter 11. Now, this section of Job, which is a long section here, is just a back and forth, which is bizarre because it, even if you don't have the benefit of chapters 1 and 2, we do. In other words, we can look at, we know what happened. We know exactly why Job is, what has happened to Job and why. Now, his friends don't know, right? In other words, they're on the physical, and just like all of us would be with any body that would suffer tragedy. A friend of mine just suffered, again, horrific tragedy in his life. And again, so that's from the physical. I just hear the news and go, oh wow, it's just horrible. But the human response is what's even worse with them. They start off sympathizing with Job, and then they become very bothered, right, by Job's basically saying, I don't know what happened to me. What did I do wrong? But they're taking great exception to this, and so they're just we're seeing this back and forth that they're hammering Job on his response that he, that and that's so. This is I think there's some lessons for us here. Mainly, if you don't know, then shut up. Don't interject. You think is, you know, why something may be, because they just are going. They're going, and the lack of sympathy that immediately turns on Job. All right, so let's go. One of the things too, if you would think about this, is Job is responding to them, which bothers him even more so. So verse 1, it says, Then Zophar, the Naamathite, replied, Should this stream of words go unanswered, and such a talker be acquitted? Now again, remember, they have no clue. Their assumption is that, Job, you did something wrong. That's why you're suffering. Should your babbling put others to silence so that you can keep on ridiculing with no one to humiliate you? Now, first of all, who is Job humiliating? In other words, why is he wrong, right? Verse 4, You have said, my teaching is sound. I am pure in your sight. But if only God would speak and declare his case against you, he would show you the secrets of wisdom, for true wisdom has two sides. Know then that God has chosen to overlook some of your sins. Can you fathom the depths of God or discover the limits of the Almighty? They are higher than the heavens. What can you do? They are deeper than Sheol. What can you know? Their measure is longer than the earth and wider than the sea. Now, what is amazing is that under any other kind of circumstances, he's saying some great stuff. His application is just so off here. Verse 10, if he passes by and throws someone in prison and convenes a court, who can stop him? Surely he knows which people are worthless. If he sees iniquity, will he not take note of it? But a stupid man will gain understanding. As soon as a wild donkey is born, a man. As for you, if you redirect your heart and lift up your hands to him in prayer, if there is iniquity in your hands, remove it. And don't allow injustice to dwell in your tent. Then you will hold your head high, free from fault. You will be firmly established and unafraid. For you will forget your suffering, recalling it only as the waters that have flowed by. Your life would be brighter than the noonday. Its darkness would be like the morning. You will be confident because there is hope. You will look carefully about and lie down in safety. You will lie down without fear, and many will seek your favor, but the sight of the wicked will fail. But the sight of the wicked, you will lie down without fear, and many will seek your favor. But the sight of the wicked will fail, and the way of escape will be cut off, and their only hope is their breath. All right, my screen is freezing up here, guys. Let me see here. Let me go to another alternate here. Alrighty. Okay, I want to go to. Let me just do this. Let me go to. Let me come out of here for a moment and. All right, my screen froze up for a moment. All right, back on. Here we go. This is chapter 12, verse 1. It says, Then Job answered, No doubt you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. Now, obviously, he's clapping back at them, right? You are the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I also have a mind, and I am not inferior to you. Who doesn't know the things you're talking about? I am a laughingstock to my friends. By calling on God who answers me, the righteous and the upright man is a laughingstock. The one who is at ease holds calamity in contempt, and thinks it's prepared for those whose feet are slipping. And the tents of the robbers are safe, and those who provoke God are secure. God's power provides this. But ask the animals, and they will instruct you. And ask the birds of the sky, and they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, and it will instruct you. Let the fish of the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? The life of every living thing is in his hand, as well as the breath of all mankind. Now, kind of interesting here that the assumption of God is reality here. Now, we have different choices in our day, like, for example, atheists, right? The atheists who deny the existence of God. Notice here, it seems like the automatic assumption that, okay, God in himself is not the issue. Verse 10. The life of every living thing is in his hand, as well as the breath of all mankind. Doesn't the ear test words, and the palate taste food? Wisdom is found with the elderly, and understanding comes with long life. Now, this is certainly true. Some of you young people sometimes think, how come people don't listen to me? Because the one thing that young people lack is wisdom. When I was young, had a lot of knowledge with no wisdom. Verse 13. Wisdom and strength belong to God. Counsel and understanding are his. Whatever he tears down cannot be rebuilt. Whatever he imprisons cannot be released. When he withholds the waters, everything dries up. And when he releases them, they destroy the land. True wisdom and power belong to him. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leads counselors away barefoot and makes judges go mad. He released the bonds put on by kings, and fastened a belt around their waist. He leads priests away barefoot and overthrows and establishes leaders. He deprives trusted advisors of speech and takes away the elders' good judgment. He pours out contempt on the nobles and disarms the strong. He reveals mysteries from the darkness and brings the deepest darkness into light. Oh, okay. He makes he makes nations great and then destroy them. He enlarge nations, then lead them away. He deprives the world leaders of reason and make them wander in trackless wastelands. They grope around in the darkness without light. He makes them stagger like drunken men. Okay, let me go. He's continuing on. Look, my eyes have seen all of this. My ears have heard and understand it. Everything you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you. Now, remember, Job wasn't inferior to them. He was among their group. They were one of the greatest men of the East. Actually, Job was one of the most respected men out of all of their group, which kind of made them baffled because he was one of the greatest and one of the most respected men of all of their group. So why was all of this happening to him? They only could conclude he must have done something wrong. Verse 3, yet I prepared to speak to the Almighty and argue my case before God. But you coat the truth with lies. You are worthless doctors. If only you would shut up and let that be your wisdom. Like, wow, right? Hear now my argument and listen to my defense. Will you testify unjustly on God's behalf or speak deceitfully for him? Would you show partiality to him or argue the case in his defense? Would it go well if he examined you? By the way, he will. Sidebar, it's coming up. Would it go well if he examined you? Could you deceive him as you would deceive a man? Surely he would rebuke you if you secretly show partiality. Would God's majesty not terrify you? Would his dread not fall on you? Your memorable sayings are proverbs of ashes. Your defenses are made of clay. Be quiet and I will speak. Let whatever comes happen to me. Why do I put myself at risk and take my life in my own hands? Even if he kills me, I will hope in him. I will still defend my ways before him. Now, these kind of statements here, I will defend my ways before him. God will later bring this back and say, okay, let's see if you can do this, right? You're gonna justify yourself and condemn me. This is going to come back to haunt him. Verse 16. Yes, this would result in my deliverance, for no godless person can appear before him. Now, kind of interesting, this statement here, for no godless person can appear before him. We know but from chapters 1 and 2, Satan appeared before him. Verse 17, pay close attention to my words. Let my declaration ring in your ears. Now then, I have prepared my case. I know that I am right. Like I say, this is going to come back and haunt him. Can anyone indict me? If so, I will be silent and die. So on the one hand, remember he's kind of right, but like I say, he's kind of itching towards that level there where, okay, where you're going to cross over to say, even though you may say, I'm right in that I didn't deserve this, where he's not right is God can do what he will with any of us as he pleases, since we're his creation. Only grant these two things to me, God, so that I will not have to hide from your presence. Remove your hands from me, and do not let your terror frighten me. Then call, and I will answer. Remember this word right here. Then call, and I will answer. Remember this. Or I will speak, and you can respond to me. I'm going to write this down because I want to totally come back, guys. He is going to be sorry he said this. He is going to be very, very sorry. All right, so I want you to remember this word right here. All right. Because when we get to chapter 38, Yeah. Okay. Um, Verse 22, then call and I will answer, or I will speak and you can respond to me. This is funny because God is going to do that in this case. Now, He doesn't always respond to our idle, kind of anger towards Him. He's going to respond to this statement here. Verse 23, how many iniquities and sins have I committed? Reveal to me my transgression and sins. Now we're getting into sort of the arrogant part of him. Even though God says, hey, what I'm doing to Job is without cause. Now notice how Job is responding now as the progression goes. Is that he's slipping over into, okay, but God is still God. Watch this. So verse 24, why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? Will you frighten a wind-driven leaf? Will you chase after dry straw? For you record bitter accusations against me and make me inherit the iniquities of my youth. You put my feet in the stocks and stand watch over my path, setting a limit for my soul to my feet. Men wears out like something rotten, like moth eating. Okay. Let's go. Chapter 14 says, man born of a woman is short of days and full of troubles. Kind of interesting because remember, Job will live, from our perspective, a long time. And of course, it's kind of relative. I think Job can be like 130 years. But anyway, so he says he blossoms like flowers then withers. He flees like the shadow and does not last. Do you really take notice of one like this? Do you really take a notice of one like this? Will you bring me into judgment against you? Who can produce something pure from what is impure? No one. Since man's days are determined, and the number of his months depend on you, and since you have set limits he cannot pass, look away from him and let him rest, so that he can enjoy his days like the herds. So that he can enjoy his days like a hired hand. There is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again, and its shoots will not die. If its roots grow old in the ground, and its stump starts to die in the soil, the smell of water makes it thrive, and men produce twigs like sapling. But man dies and fades away. His breath, he breathes his last. Where is he? Stop. Now, what's kind of, again, interesting about this is that, remember, from their perspective, they're only seeing in the physical kind of realm. And in other words, they don't see the spiritual. Remember, chapters 1 and 2, for our benefit, Job didn't see that. Many people in the Old Testament, in a sense, thought death, the grave, the dirt was the end because they didn't see past that. We know that man existence go on after death. Verse 11. Now, it's kind of interesting because remember, by the way, we see this, for example, with the prophet Samuel. When he dies, he actually comes back and talks to Samuel. In the Mount of Transfiguration, we see Moses and Elijah, who actually comes back. Moses had been dead almost some 1,500 years. Elijah some 800 years. And yet they come back and they're talking with Jesus. In other words, man goes on. Verse 10. But man dies and fades away. He breathes his last. Where is he? As water disappears from the sea, a river becomes parched and dry. So man lies down and never to rise again. They will not wake up until the heavens are no more. They will not stir from their sleep. If only you will hide me in Sheol and conceal me until your anger passes. If only you will appoint a time for me and then remember me. When a man dies, will he come back to life? Interesting question that Job is answering. The answer is yes. In other words, his existence never ceased. Only his physical body, man's spirit and soul, is separated from his physical body at death. But of course, then there is also the revelation that is yet to come from Job's perspective of the resurrection. And the word resurrection means body stand. Whenever you see the term resurrection, not being raised from the dead. Lazarus was raised from the dead, but the term resurrection has to do with this body, your body. Verse 14 again, when a man dies, will he come back to life? If so, I will wait all the days of my struggle until my relief come. You would call, and I would answer you. You would long for the works of your hands. Like I said, remember this phrase right here. Remember that God is going to throw that back in his face. Verse 16, for then you will count my steps, but will not take note of my sin. My rebellion would be sealed up in a bag, and you would never cover my iniquity. But as the mountain collapses and crumbles, and the rocks is dislodged from its place, as water wears away stone, and torrents wash away the soil from the land, so you destroy man's hope. You completely overpower him, and he passes on. You change his appearance and send him away. If his sons receive honor, he doesn't know it. If they become insignificant, he is unaware of it. He feels only the pain of his own body and mourns only for himself. Again, very interesting dialogue. Okay, very interesting dialogue. And like I say, those words are going to come back to haunt Job. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. As always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comments section below. All comments are welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next